This is the Jerry Callahan Show.
All right, it is Monday, July 8th. This is going to be a wild week. This is the goodest time of year. I love 4th of July. I had the goodest 4th of July I've had in years. I had one of the goodest weekends I've had this summer. It's just a really goodest time to be alive. Our president, not for him, not for Joe. He went on the rehab tour over the weekend, beginning with Steffi Stephanopoulos, who I thought would really give him a good foot rub. I really thought Steffi would do his best to rehabilitate the damage that was done in the disastrous debate the week before. Didn't work out so well. Here's the bottom line. He can't rehab his image. He's incapable. As I've said many times, he can't campaign. He can't give speeches. He can't do rope lines. He can't do campaign events. He can't be on camera. He can't speak. And he's going nowhere. He's going nowhere. He made that clear over the weekend. He just called in to Morning Joe. I watched it live. He called in to his buddies, Mika and Joe, and said, I'm going nowhere. That hasn't stopped the Democrats, the media, his former fanboys, Hollywood. They are bailing in droves. The rats are jumping off the ship, and it is glorious to watch, to hear. Over the weekend, he lost Rob Reiner and Stephen King, both of whom tweeted out, "It's over, Joe. Time to quit the race." Keith Olbermann's going to be doing this any minute now. He's losing the crazies. He's losing the media. He lost the New York Times. I have the whole list here, by the way. I kept track over the weekend. 168 business leaders, including Paul Tagliabue, former NFL commissioner, the owners of the Florsheim, the family members who own the Florsheim shoe dynasty, Christy Walton, a Walmart heir, a bunch of Congress people, including Seth Moulton and Jerry Nadler, Thomas Friedman and Nicholas Kristof from the New York Times. These are Biden suck-ups, lickspittles. These are stooges for Joe Biden, and they have bailed. And then they have the guys who I never thought would give up on Joe Biden, like Rob Reiner and Stephen King. They're all out. They're demanding he leave. And Joe Biden says, I'm going nowhere. This is the greatest political story of my lifetime. I've never seen anything like it. We have an incapacitated, incompetent, senile, pathetic, feeble, weak, frail, confused old man who is, above all else, really stubborn and really egotistical. He thinks, I think he actually believes that he can win. The polls show he's getting trounced, and they're going to get worse. He is making himself available. He's calling into talk shows. He's going on radio shows and providing the questions they're going to ask him. We'll get to that, as we've known all along. And it's just not working out well. Do we have the quick one from Steffi? Maybe he edited some things because it was not live. He wouldn't go on live. He went with his good friend Stephanopoulos. It was recorded and edited, and this is the best they got. They have the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, saying he's doing the goodest job he can. This was an amazing moment. Play it.
And if you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
The goodest job I can do. I tried to think of the last time I heard someone say goodest. I'm pretty sure it was a 4-year-old. I don't think I've ever heard anyone over the age of 8 say goodest. Where did that come from? The goodest job I can do. I know I'm getting hung up on this, but that is just the most embarrassing. I mean, there's lots of embarrassing things, and we'll get to them. It was a humiliating weekend, and the idea that he can go out there and shore things up. He was he was out in public as he boasted to Joe and Mika. He's out there every day, and Trump's hiding, and that's a good thing. Trump is taking advice, and he's doing the right thing. He's shutting his mouth for once. I mean, he was caught off camera. Someone recorded him secretly saying Joe Biden is terrible and Kamala is pathetic, but he didn't say anything controversial. He just told the truth. But Trump is not taking up any of the oxygen. It's all on Joe, and it's not going well. I'm telling you, I don't even know where to begin with this, Ironhead. We have so many just humiliating moments for this man.
Well, it was.
Let's do today. Let's do the latest.
Right.
I'm watching this morning. I hate watch Morning Joe every day. I go back and forth, but I like to see Joe Scarborough attempt to gaslight the world and tell you Joe Biden is tip top. He's just fine. He hasn't lost Joe Scarborough yet. I don't think he ever will. Scarborough's going to be like the wives of the Egyptian, whatever they were, the pharaohs, where they would bury the wives with the husbands. When the husband died, they'd bury the wife. When Joe Biden dies, I think they're going to bury Joe Scarborough with him. He loves him that much. But he was thrilled that Joe Biden called into his show. Oh, we get the president live. I don't think either Joe was happy because Mika asked a couple of tough questions. She really did. She had this strange instinct that maybe she should conduct an actual interview and not give the president a foot rub. Joe Scarborough looked like he was ready to reach over and kiss the screen. But Mika put him on the spot, and Joe didn't handle it so well. This is the other thing you're going to see. You're going to see snippy, angry Joe because he's not a good man. He is not a healthy man. He's a frustrated man. He thinks that there should be no tough questions, that no one should question his cognitive decline. He really believes I think that he's doing a good job as president. And he's very frustrated with the poll numbers, with his approval rating, and it shows. Let's watch as Mika screws up here and asks an actual tough question. Go ahead.
Have you been tested for any age-related illnesses, pre-Parkinson's, or anything like that that might explain sort of having a night like that where you couldn't finish sentences?
Ooh.
Look, I had before, I was feeling so badly before the debate. When I came back, they tested me for, I thought maybe I had COVID, maybe there was something wrong. I had an infection or something. They tested me, they gave me those tests, I was clear. So, but look, I had a bad night. But the fact of the matter is, look at what I'm doing. I mean, let me put it this way. If there was something that was wrong that night, it's not like it comes and that's one night and it goes away. That's why I've been out. I've been testing myself, been testing everywhere I go, going out and making the case. The night of that debate, I went out. I was out till 2:00 in the morning that very night. That very night, it drives me nuts, people talking about this.
Drives him nuts. He was at Waffle House. Just to set the record straight, they said he had a cold. He was contagious. So after the debate, they went to Waffle House and shook hands with everybody in the place. That's how concerned they were about Joe's illness. Of course, there was no illness. They were just trying to save face, and they threw a bunch of trial balloons out there. Jet lag. He'd been holed up in Camp David for 7 days preparing for the debate. There was no jet lag. There was no cold. There was just an old man up way past his bedtime. And since that day, since that debate, which was whatever it was, 10 days, 11 days ago, we have seen a shift, a dynamic in the media that I never thought we would see. They have decided that for two things. Some of them decided they need to save some dignity. They need to save some professional dignity, so they're going to do actual journalism. There's a few like that. And then there are others who know Joe Biden is incapable of knocking off Donald Trump. And that is what the goal is for them, for Democrats in the media, is stop Trump. And they know this man can't stop Trump. Hell, there's at least one more debate scheduled in September. And as I've been saying for 3 years, there's one thing we know about Joe Biden is he's not going to get better. I believe he has Parkinson's and dementia, which is it's called Lewy body dementia. That's what he has, and it is nasty. It is the worst way to age and to go. You hallucinate, you get really frustrated, you can't you have trouble walking, your hands get all stiff. He has all the symptoms. And we learned over the weekend that newsflash, Corinne Jean-Pierre lied. Visitor logs, I believe the New York Post broke this. Visitor logs showed that a neurologist visited the White House to meet with Joe Biden and his doctor. Why would you do that? Why? You would do that because you have all the symptoms. It's clear. The country can see it. And the Joe Biden you heard today with Morning Joe is going to get worse. The next time he calls in, it'll be worse. The next event he appears at, he'll be more stiff, more confused, more snippy, more angry. And then he has to go to the convention in Chicago in August, where the city is a war zone. We'll get to that. What's the latest number? 103 people shot in Chicago over the weekend. 103. The latest death toll, 16 fatal. But that number is going to go up. Kids, old ladies, we'll get to it. It's remarkable what's happening in Chicago, and everyone ignores it. I watched news shows all morning, like last 3 hours. There was one mention, and it was about a 30-second report on 103 shootings in an American city over the weekend. And the president, all the Democrats, all the media are heading there in August. And we're not even talking about the pro-Hamas lunatics and the climate change nuts. It is going to be madness in Chicago. And in the middle of it is going to be a confused old man whose day, his work day, goes from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's what happened over the last 10 days. The media has actually done reporting and claimed they didn't know. They didn't know he was in such bad shape. They're just finding out. They're such liars. They're such frauds. They knew, just like we knew for the last 3 years, that he was in decline. They knew, just like we knew, that he was incapable of doing the job. They know the question now is not, can he do 4 more years? That's laughable. The question is, can he do 4 more months? I don't think so. And that's why everybody is coming out of the woodwork to say, Joe, do the right thing. Step aside. And then you're stuck with Kamala. They can't get rid of Kamala. So it would be nominee Kamala Harris debating Donald Trump, which will be glorious. They have no option. They have no alternative. They can't bring in someone else. Joe said it today. He said it over the weekend. He told members of Congress, he told the governors, he's in it. He's going nowhere. He's the man who can beat Donald Trump. And all I have to say to that is, you go, Joe. You go. We need Biden in this race. We need him there because he's the most beatable candidate there's ever been. He's the worst candidate we've ever seen. He can't do it. He was a bad candidate to begin with, which is why he dropped out, 40 years ago, because he's a liar and a plagiarist and a crook, and we know it. We need him in the race. Trump should do everything he can to encourage Joe Biden to stay in the race, whatever it takes. People, right-wing media should encourage Joe Biden to stay in the race. Joe, you're no quitter, Joe. You're a fighter. You're Scranton Joe. We need him in the race. But back to the media, because this is just an amazing thing to watch. They're lying to you. They knew he was in decline. They knew he had some form of dementia. They knew it, and they lied to you for the last 3 years. They have been lying. And we played many of the clips. Joe Scarborough saying he's never been in better, mental condition. All the Democrats, all the media telling you, Joe's the State of the Union, man, that was Brandon, Dark Brandon. He brought it. They knew, but after the debate, they realized it's so bad that he can't win. He can't do it. And they need to stop Trump. So they say, wow, we didn't know. They lied to us. Here is Brian Steltner on CNN. He said, the media has been deceived by the White House and the Biden campaign. Jonathan Karl said this was this was malpractice on the part of the White House and the Biden campaign. Malpractice, because they lied and said Joe Biden is tip-top. Kamala Harris said it. KJP said it over and over again. There is no problem. There is no issue. The media wants to convince you that they've been fooled. They've been deceived. That is a lie. They knew it. They were part of the cover-up. That's who they are. That's what they do. They carry the water for this incompetent, incapacitated vegetable in the White House. That's what they do. Some of them will continue to do that. Others are going to say, gee, we didn't know. It's fascinating. Axios, which is a typically reliable supporter of Joe Biden. I mean, the most. When you want to know what's going on in the White House, you can go to Axios. They have connections, they have sources, and they will tell you in their morning briefing that they come out with and tell you what Biden's up to. They have turned like no one else on Joe Biden. And they're the ones, here's just a couple of reports from Axios over the last few days. They're the ones who said Joe Biden is only engaged from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., 6 hours a day. After 4, he's done. That's why he was so bad in the debate, because that's way past his bedtime. He doesn't start work till 10. He's the president. There's wars all over the world. They're not fighting these wars on Joe Biden's sleep schedule. You know, they're not scheduling their wars around his nap time in the afternoon. But that's what you got at 81 years old. What's he going to be like at 82, 83, 84? That should be the Trump ad every day. What will Joe Biden be like at the age of 84, 85, 86? I can tell you, he will not be capable of doing anything. I've said many times, there's no job he could do. None. He couldn't deliver mail. He couldn't walk your dog. He couldn't bag your groceries. And Democrats are going to try to convince you he could lead the free world. He could be the guy in control of the nuclear codes, a man who can't dress himself, who can't do anything after 4 p.m. That they want you to believe is a guy who could be president for 4 more years. But we're lucky because he's so stubborn, so selfish, and he's being driven by some of the worst people in the world. And by that, I mean his wife, the biggest elder abuser in the world, Dr. Jill, and his son, his crackhead criminal son, is in his circle. And they are saying, you go, Joe. They are pushing this pathetic old man to march on. They're not changing. And I mean, prominent Democrats. There's your presidential advisor right there. Totally coked out, a criminal, just the worst kind of person, just an absolute degenerate. He's encouraging his loved one, his dear old dad, to go out there every day and humiliate himself. That woman right there, she is just an evil, awful, rotten, horrible person. I've known people with dementia. If you're any kind of spouse or son, you do everything to protect that person. You do everything to make them live a comfortable life. You don't dress them up, push them out, send them to rallies, make them go to Waffle House at 2 a.m. That's not what you do with someone, an 81-year-old with dementia. You don't make them go to Waffle House to shake hands. You don't make them call in the Morning Joe or sit down with Steffi, and you certainly don't make them debate Donald Trump. I haven't heard anyone address that. They can't let that happen. For whatever reason, they will cancel the September debate. They can't make him do what he did last week. Last week, he had 7 days of preparation. Last week, he was a week younger than he is today. He's going to get so much worse. The idea that he could travel the country in October and November, leading up to Election Day, travel the country, meeting, greeting, doing interviews, is just a joke. It can't happen. They'll do interviews and they'll give the questions to the interviewers, and he'll be ready, but he can't even do that. Just an amazing turn of events where many in the media and in the Democrat Party, leaders of the Democrat Party, his biggest supporter, James Clyburn of South Carolina, he wouldn't be president if not for Clyburn, who rallied the troops in South Carolina and saved a flailing Biden campaign. He was set to go on Face the Nation, I believe, yesterday, canceled at the last minute because he knows he would be forced to lie. Either if he told the truth and said Joe's done, that wouldn't be good. And if he lied, it would be obvious. So they're just bailing. They're jumping ship. And it's a glorious thing to watch. I want to play. Do we have any more from Morning Joe this morning, Ironhead?
We sure do. We have him getting furious.
Good. Yeah, this is Snippy Joe. This is, a decent man. He's just a good, decent man. That's a lie. He's an angry old man who is fed up with people pointing out the obvious, that he is just not up to the job. Watch this.
The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance, number one. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who they know so much more. But if any of these guys don't think I should run against me, go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention.
Announce the president, he says.
Announce for president. They wouldn't let, they kept Robert F. Kennedy off the ballot. They wouldn't let him on the debate stage. They did everything they could to protect him. They didn't let him go out there and hold rallies. They had him shuffle around Wawa in front of 8 people. He got 14 million votes. He won the nomination, and he's going nowhere. And I think we're all getting a good look behind the curtain now, because there are so many people who want him out because they know he can't beat Trump. And Trump smartly is staying away and saying, let's all focus on this guy. And that should continue. Trump has done nothing for 10 days except play golf and keep his mouth shut. I like it. That is smart. And he's ready with his VP pick. We'll get to it, but he's not going to do it while Joe Biden is drowning. He's going to stick a hose in his mouth. That's the plan, and that's smart Trump. Good Trump. Good move. All right, we'll get to that story of the radio interviews. Another lie from the media. The media, mainstream media, was shocked to find out the Biden campaign provided the questions to the interviewers that Joe Biden sat down with. We've known that all along. He got caught doing that at a press conference when they had the picture of his card, and it showed the reporter with a picture and the name and the question. We knew he did this, but it all blew up on him over the weekend when one brave radio host said, yep, they told me what to ask. And guess what happened to her? We'll get to that. She's looking for work, Ironhead. She's done. Oh, and we got the latest on the Karen Reed. TMZ has the breakdown on the votes in the jury room. And it's surprising, to say the least. We'll get to that. And we'll give you those details in Chicago. Just the number's probably going up. Check the latest number. 103 shot in one weekend. And not a word from AOC or Ayanna Pressley or Jamal Bowman, or not. Media barely touches it. 103 people shot, one city, one weekend. Incredible.
Excuse me.
All right, her name is Andrea Lawful Sanders. That's her name, Lawful Sanders. She's a radio host for ABC. Oh, she was for, what's the station? ABC Radio. And she got a phoner with Joe Biden she was with WURD Radio in Philadelphia. She got a interview with the president on The Source. And I assume, it went well because they told her what to ask. That's how tightly controlled they are in this campaign. I've done in my life thousands of interviews for on the radio, for Sports Illustrated, for newspapers, on this show. I've never heard anybody say, here, ask these questions. Occasionally they'll say something's off limits, like they don't, like with Brady. After a while, Brady said, no more politics, no more Trump talk. That was a pretty big deal. But no one ever said, I interviewed Brady hundreds of times. No one ever said, ask this. Never. This is not normal. This has never happened to Donald Trump. I can promise you, even when he sits down with Sean Hannity or some other, with Sebastian Gorka, he doesn't tell him, ask this. He might assume they're friendly and they won't, be too rough, but they don't tell you, ask this. Well, they told Andrea Lawful Sanders of The Source in Philadelphia what to ask. And then there was 8 questions. It wasn't just 1 or 2, 8 questions they gave her and told her what to ask. And Andrea went and let the cat out of the bag. This is her. We have her with, what is this, CNN? Yeah, CNN. Let's listen. CNN.
Something I listened to both of them, and there's something that's similar here. You each you asked 4 questions, and maybe that's what you were allowed to ask by the campaign or the White House. But they were essentially the same questions, both interviews, about accomplishments, progress in your respective state, what's at stake in the election, what he has to say about his debate performance, and what he would say to voters who think their vote doesn't matter or might sit this election out. Were those questions given to you by the White House, or did you have, or the campaign, or did you have to submit questions ahead of this interview?
The questions were sent to me for approval. I approved them.
Okay, so the White House sent the questions to you ahead of the interview?
Yes.
Okay.
I got several questions, 8 of them, and the 4 that were chosen were the ones that I approved.
Okay. And the reason I ask is not a criticism of either of you. It's just that if the White House is trying now to prove the vim, vigor, acuity of the president, I don't know how they do that by sending questions first before the interview so that the president knows what's coming.
That is amazing. Well, update. Andrea Lawful Sanders is no longer employed. She was fired, or they mutually parted ways after she told the truth. You're not supposed to do that, Andrea. You're supposed to protect the feeble old man in the White House. That's your job. You're supposed to help him. That's why they gave you that's why he came on with you and told you what to ask. I don't think it worked out great, though, because this was the interview, I believe, where Joe Biden claimed to be, let me see if I have this right, the first Black woman to serve with a Black president. Do we have that clip? This is, an interview where they gave him the questions. He was ready, prepared, and the whole point was to dispel the notion that he's confused, that he's in decline. Listen to this.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first Black woman to serve with a Black president. I'm proud of the role of the first Black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
Oh, Jesus. Did he get to the Kevlar vests? Did he tell someone not to jump? This is the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. Again, 6 thoughts in that decaying brain, and he blurts them out. And when he can't come up with one, he says, look, or anyway, and sure, he can handle the next 4 months. The grind, you can't sleep. This is a man who needs 12 hours sleep. Trump's not sleeping. That's how it works when you run for president. It is a grind. It would wear down anybody. He is supposed to be sitting in an assisted living facility, playing Keno, watching Wheel of Fortune, having his ice cream, with his family coming to visit him a couple hours every night and then tucking him to bed. He's not supposed to be running for president. What's this? It's him with Kamala?
This is him saying, ho, 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 happy 4th of July.
Geez. Right. Oh. Go ahead, play it.
And we give thanks to our commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, the extraordinary president of the United States, Joe Biden.
Ho, ho, ho. Happy Independence Day.
Oh, it's going to be wild. This is just such a wild time. This is going to be a wild week. Then we get the Republican convention. Then we get the Democrat convention. We got the VP, and I'm hoping, again, it's JD Vance. He's the man. He was on the Sunday shows just fighting the good fight for Trump and telling the truth. He is fearless. This is the New York Post today. Time to go, Joe, with a picture of someone pushing Joe Biden in a wheelchair over a cliff. That is today's New York Post. That's a good front page right there. They're New York Post. They're the ones being vindicated, exonerated here. They were right about the laptop, and they were right about the decline of the president, and they have nothing to apologize for. The rest of the media, they should be apologizing every day for lying, for covering up, for carrying the water of this man. They knew what kind of condition he was in. They watch him every day, just like he says, watch me. And we do, Joe, we have. And it is amazing that a Democrat sitting congressman like Jerry Nadler and Seth Moulton are saying time to go, Joe. Democrats don't splinter very often. I mean, they stick together. You have people like AOC who support wars. You know, they used to be radical leftists, used to be against war. You have Bernie Sanders supporting pointless foreign wars because Democrats stick together. And they have been sticking together behind Joe Biden for 4 years now. And they're not together anymore. This is just the beginning. People are going to see him today stumbling and bumbling, and there'll be another congressman, another senator, another major media figure. The entire staff of the New York Times has bailed. They're all begging him to quit because they know he can't beat Trump. It's not good for the Joe Biden campaign. There's not going to be many people left on that boat, not many people left on the island with Joe Biden. Once they're done the convention and he quits the second debate, it's going to be like, done. We're done here. And now he's calling into shows, trying to salvage his campaign. This morning, Jason Miller, senior advisor to Donald Trump, said this week, in the next 5 days, Donald Trump plans to name his vice president. That's going to be big. I don't think he should do it as long as Biden is flailing. Just let him flail. Let him drown. Let him struggle for a few more days. But he has to do it. He wants to do it before the convention, which starts a week from today. And I like J.D. Vance's chances. He is the rising star. We've gone over this before, but he can't pick an old guy. He cannot pick Ben Carson or Doug Burgum. Too old. He needs young blood. J.D. Vance's reputation is, for the most part, unassailable. They're going to try to dig up dirt, go through his book, bestseller, go through his story, and try to find some dirt. They're probably doing it already. I don't think they're going to have a lot of luck. As we know, he grew up in a dysfunctional family, dirt poor, drugs. He worked his way through Ohio State, I believe, and then Yale Law School. He joined the Marines, went to Iraq. He's made a lot of money. He's smart as hell. He's 39 years old. That's what we need, young blood. And I don't care what color he is. I don't care. We need to be done with DEI. I'm all in on Byron Donalds too, but he lives in Florida. And I think that's an issue. Is this the latest odds? 31% chance. That's it. He's shot up though. He's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, this was 2 minutes ago.
And while Ohio is a reliable red state, he will have appeal in Pennsylvania and Michigan. He has appeal in the Rust Belt, and I'd love to see them go after him for the life he's led. I don't think they're going to come up with much dirt. They will try, but I don't think it's going to work. And he's ready to fight. The day he gets named, he'll go on 60 Minutes. He'll go on, he'll go on CBS, NBC, MSNBC, Morning Joe, Jimmy Kimmel. He'll go anywhere. He's fearless. I hope it's him. I mean, I'd be okay with Byron Donalds, of course, or even Vivek. But I think you have a Republican governor in Ohio who can name a Republican replacement. He's a rhino, but I think he'll keep the seat in Republican hands. And he'll be out there campaigning every day because he's young and he has energy and he's afraid of no one. So I'm hoping in the next 5 days, that's the guy. And then we get to look forward to a J.D. Vance versus Kamala Harris debate. And Kamala, she's terrible. Trump's right. She's not as bad as Joe. I know her approval rating's lower than Joe's, but she can at least, I was going to say she could put a sentence together. Some days she can put a sentence together. Other days, not so much. She'll just be going into a meat grinder in the VP debate, and J.D. Vance will just chew her up, spit her out, and that will be a wonderful thing to see. But all right, we got to get to the big scoop, breaking news on the Karen Reed trial, and we'll give you the latest death toll out of Chicago. It's going up as we speak.
Excuse me.
People are nominating their VPs. RFK Jr. No, not happening. RFK Jr. is a Democrat. I know he's fearless. I know he's tireless. He's in good shape. He's 69 years old, and he's a Democrat. And he wanted to put climate skeptics in prison, and he's in favor of full-term abortion. So no, you can't have RFK as VP, and you can't have him in the cabinet. No chance. Anyway, we'll get back to the VP the rest of this week. It's going to be a big story, but this is just breaking. Do you have the TMZ story? Just breaking. I'm kind of surprised it's coming from TMZ because Turtle Boy's all over this, and there's a bunch of people digging. It's a national story. I'm telling you, all weekend, 4th of July weekend, more people were talking about Karen Reed than we're talking about Joe Biden. It's huge, this story, and it's this. According to TMZ, let me get the breakdown. According to TMZ, the jury was unanimous to acquit Reed on the most serious charge, 12-0 to acquit. And now her lawyer is saying that they can't try her again for that because that would be double jeopardy. This just broke like an hour ago. Ready? Says Karen Reed may be tried again for the death of her boyfriend after a judge declared a mistrial, but murder charges may not be on the table because according to the defense, the vote on the murder charge was 12-0 in favor of acquittal. But we I don't quite get this. Reed's lawyer, Alan Jackson, just filed a document arguing prosecuting Reed for second-degree murder a second time would amount to double jeopardy. Shockingly, when the judge declared the mistrial, she didn't say anything about the jury's vote on the murder charge. We've also learned the jury was unanimous in favor of acquittal on the charge of leaving the scene of an accident where there was an injury or death. The only charge on which the jury was deadlocked was vehicular manslaughter. And it says, TMZ says the vote was 9-3 in favor of guilt, of conviction. 9 people on the jury said acquit her on the murder, but convict her and leaving the scene of an accident, but convict her on vehicular manslaughter. How does that work? So you think she did it, and she left the scene. So how do you acquit her for leaving the scene of an accident when you think she committed vehicular manslaughter?
I'm guessing they're assuming she didn't know she hit him. I guess.
Is that the logic that she was going 22 miles per hour in reverse? She hit the man, killed him, but didn't know it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one.
Well, I'm sure Turtle Boy is working on it and others, and we'll learn more. There'll be jurors who speak any day now, hopefully. But that will be, I don't even understand how you could try her again. Wouldn't the defense just do what they just did? Wouldn't they call Michael Proctor to the stand? Wouldn't they call that idiot investigator with the GED, with the associate's degree? Wouldn't they call him back? I mean, wouldn't they have the FBI guys who said he was not hit by a car? Wouldn't they call them back? Wouldn't we go through the how long to die in the cold all over again? Wouldn't we go through Colin Albert's bloody knuckles all over again? There's no chance you can convict her. I mean, I guess you could get another hung jury, but what good does that do? They can't do this again, I don't think, but who the hell knows? It was hard to believe the first time that they went through with it, knowing how bad the evidence was, and it was hard to believe that she wasn't acquitted, but that's amazing. Jury 9-3 in favor of guilt on vehicular manslaughter. So maybe they just try her on that charge and not the murder charge. Maybe that's what her lawyers are looking for, and maybe they'll have some success, but it sure doesn't make any sense. They had 68 witnesses. They're going to do that again? 9 weeks. We're going to do that again? 9 weeks to try her? I don't know. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Let me do this Chicago story because no one else does. This is just amazing. I really recommend going to the Chicago newspapers, websites. This is from ABC7 in Chicago. At least 100 people have been shot, 17 fatally, in gun violence over the weekend, the long 4th of July weekend. They go through every shooting, 100 shootings. And it's just amazing. There's an 8-year-old kid. There's a 74-year-old woman shot. All of them, taken to the hospital. Some died there. Some are probably going to die. The latest number, 2 women, 74 and 31, were shot in the leg and taken to the hospital where they're in fair condition. 2 men, 28, 23, also shot in the leg. A lot of people getting shot in the leg. And it goes to 2 women, 18 and 19, were shot and refused medical attention. Okay. It goes on and on. They go through each and every shooting. How is this not kind of a 15-year-old boy shot in the back, taken to the hospital, good condition? That's good. Let me get to the 8-year-old. Just, and it's all, 4, 5 in the morning. And no one talks about it. I mean, you'd think Black Lives Matter, you think the squad members, you think they might, call attention to this and say, we need more cops. We need a curfew. We need something. Stop and frisk. Is this the report from Chicago?
Yes, it is.
Let's listen to this. This is, you got to go to local news. You want this nationally, you're not going to get much. But locally in Chicago, they do cover it, and they go through every single shooting. The story I'm looking at it's about 3,000 words just to cover the shootings on one holiday weekend. Let's listen.
Chicago saw an eruption of gun violence this long holiday weekend. 100 people were shot across the city. 17 of them were killed. The injured include 3 men who were shot near the University of Chicago Hospital this morning. And late last night, a 26-year-old man was killed while walking down East 21st Street near Michigan Avenue.
I was walking my dog at the dog park across from the Marriott by 320 East 21st over there, and I heard at least 15 clear gunshots.
The number of people injured or killed by gunfire over the holiday far exceeds last year's tally.
The death, I believe it's up to 280 shot dead this year, and we're at July 8th. They're going to have over 500 murders in the city that is hosting the DNC in a month. This is going to go completely nuts. And again, now you're going to mix in all the pro-Hamas nuts, all the climate change, all the lunatics, and they're all going to be in that city marching and setting fires and shooting. Man, that is going to be one wild weekend. All right. Any more celebrities bail on Biden since the show began? Keith Oldman chime in yet?
No, not yet. Not that I've seen. He might have blocked me.
That's true. I think he blocked me. But it's coming. People are opening their eyes, and it's just going to get worse and worse for the man who is
Rob Reiner, who recently was crying leaving, is kind of surprising.
That's right. He was at the watch party for the. No, he was screaming. Barbara Streisand was crying at the watch party in L.A. But how do you defend a man? Can you play the goodest cut again? Get the Steffi cut. Get any Steffi cut. They can't rehab him. They tried. They edited it. They had lighting. They had the orange tan. They had this perfect suit jacket and open collar. And he just sits there and he mumbles and he's half asleep. That's the best. To quote Joe Scarborough, that's the best Joe Biden. That's the best. Look at this man. That is the best you're going to see. That man right there. They prepped him. They edited this. They recorded this. They did it on his schedule between 10 and 4. And this is what you got. Good.
And if you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
The goodest job I thought I could do. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your commander-in-chief. He's doing the goodest job he can.
He is, though, to be fair.
That's true. He is. And he's going nowhere, and that's a wonderful thing. Oh, we have Dr. Jill stepping off Air Force One. Where are they? Down south, heading down south, Georgia, Florida. Forget it. Why? Why would you even campaign in Florida at this point? You can't win. And we have Karine Jean-Pierre, who will be appearing at 1:30 today to lie her ass off and tell you, the neurologist who came to the White House, she's just paying a social visit. He wasn't really there to diagnose Joe Biden with Parkinson's. But there he is, right there. There's Crooked Joe, Sleepy Joe, Dementia Joe, wrapping up a crazy weekend and it's just going to get nuts. I can't wait, Ironhead. We're going to be all set for the next couple months. It's going to be good. But we'll leave it there for today. This glorious July 8th, the goodest time of year. I love this time of year. But did you have a good 4th of July too, Ironhead?
I did. We had 2 barbecues because Friday and Saturday were both off. So we had one family member host one day and then another the next day, both within walking distance. It was nice.
Wow, good. Walking distance is important on the 4th of July. Very important.
It sure is. How about yourself?
It was excellent. Seriously, it was the goodest 4th of July I think I've ever had. It was a blast. Still enjoying the post-wedding parties, and it's been fun. Yeah. It's been fun. And I got Bug the Chug, my daughter's dog, right here by my side. My favorite dog in the world.
He's been to Chicago once, right?
Blind. Yeah. Yes, Bug the Chug was shot, but he's a tough little bastard and he survived. Still has a bullet in him, but he doesn't know it. He's happy as hell. But all right, that'll do for today. Thanks for listening and for watching. Thank you, Ironhead. I'm Jerry.